Hey guys, Scott Webb here with Kitchen Traffic in Castle Rock, Colorado, and I am honored to be joined by the Greg Rowlett with Ambitious.com out of Orlando, Florida. Greg, so awesome to have you with us today, and really jazzed about the subject matter because I feel like right now there's this massive vacuum that's going on in businesses that just are not communicating with their customer base. I mean, barely their employees. And certainly not their community. And so this came about, this idea for this topic, 5 ways leaders can take the lead, is really from all the messages, emails, texts that I've received in the last week, and just a lot of people from all different types of businesses, different sizes, entrepreneurs, freelancers, all the way up to CEOs of multi-million-dollar companies. And they're literally going, what do we do? And I said, communicate. Tell your customers what's going on with your business right now. If anything, just tell them that you're here as a listening ear. So, and I couldn't think, as I was starting to formulate this, I couldn't think of any better person than to reach out to you, because this is your wheelhouse. This is what you do. You help these individuals and professionals become better at communicating not only their value, but also, who they are. I mean, empathy right now is so big. And as I was going through and creating some graphics for today's video, I found this cup that you have out there, and it says, ambition equals oxygen. And I think a lot of times we think of ambition in a negative sense, but heck, dude, I'm telling you right now, there's no greater time to be ambitious.
It is, man. Like even at a time like this, I feel like we all need to be striving for that next thing, striving to grow in whatever area of life that it is. It doesn't have to be business. It could be health, relationships, whatever it is that if you're not growing, you're dying. And ambition really is the oxygen. And I think at a time like this, like we all do need a little bit of ambition. We need a little bit of hope. And hopefully you and I can do that for everybody today.
Yeah, I agree. And it's awesome to team up with you, Greg. We're going to get into the 5 ways leaders take the lead, giving you a strategy and providing some tactics along the way. But really, this is about getting out in front of this thing. It's about communicating what's going on with your business to your customers. It's about providing some resources, maybe even some assets to help your customers through this. It's about even engaging with your community. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I'm going to say it right off the bat, over communicating right now is not a bad thing. So we want to make sure that you guys have some tools that you can use, not just some, insight, but here's some actual tactics that you can use. We're going to make this available to you through our email. And Greg, what's your email?
Yep, just greg@ambitious.com. We made it really, really simple.
Yeah, awesome. And of course, you can hit me up, Scott, at kitchentraffic.com as well. And we'll send you this PDF that Greg and I created together, again, to give you those tools and actual tactics that you can use. But just to give you some background, I'm 50 years old. I've lived through 4 of these things. 1999, the 2000.com bubble, the 2001 terrorist attacks, the 2008 Lehman Brothers collapse with the housing crisis and the Great Recession. And there's a lot of things going on right now, very similar. And so I have that experience, and I wanted to make sure that, we put this out there. Greg does too. We'll talk a little bit about what his experience is with this. But all I know is right now you guys need to be thinking about not just, being in touch with your customer with an ad or some type of, generic email. I mean, this has to be authentic. It needs to be real. It can't be canned. We're going to give you some suggestions here in our worksheet, but, right now we have lived through this. And because of that, we feel like we have the experience and obviously the insight to, give you guys some advice. We hope you would heed our advice, because I'm going to tell you, if you want your business to succeed on the other side of this thing, it is literally about being in front of your customers and being relevant right now. And so, Greg, tell us a little bit about what your experience was.
Yeah, so I'm a little younger than you, not as much youth as I used to have, but so I actually built my business in the 2008 crash and saw it as a huge opportunity for what exactly you just described, someone stepping up and becoming a leader. And I saw this vacuum of everybody talking doom and gloom. Everybody is scared. People didn't have hope, and I thought it was a great time to, all right, well, why not me? And it's a question that I've been asking a lot of folks lately that I've been talking to is, well, why not you? In this time, why aren't you the leader? Well, why not you? This is a really great time if you've been, in the shadows, if you, I have a business, I have a company, I don't need to have a personal brand. Well, now you kind of can. You can come out of the shadows. Why not you? And so built my business in 2008 as a personal brand and utilized media. At the time, it was a lot of writing. I was blogging. I was guest blogging. I was writing for any website, any magazine, anyone on the planet. I was just cranking out 500 to 1,000 word articles left and right, and then started using video. And the blunt, honest truth is I was really, really bad back then. Really bad on video. Wasn't this polished. Even though we're both wearing hats today, we came in super professional. There's just a charisma that comes to it. And I can tell you that the only way to get started is to get started. And thinking about what you're going to do in this time, reaching out to Scott, I think is a great move, but reaching out just to get some ideas, just to sit on them for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days is a really, really bad move. And it can be very devastating to your business if you don't take action, I think, as fast as possible. I'm putting together a new program now called Velocity. It's how to create at warp speed, and speed is going to win over the next, 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So I built a business in really bad times, built up a really, really big business in good times. And, just with everyone else, we're having to find our communication strategy and come out in front of our marketplace right now. And so, we're in the thick of it, just like you guys are. And I think, Scott, you mentioned it, is like you and I, we don't have every answer, on the book, but we know that this is an opportunity for you not to take advantage of people, not to, be doing harm to people, maybe not even to be pitching your products and services, but to be a leader. Because this is the time where the next generation, the next decade of leaders is going to sprout up from right here, right now, today. From adversity comes leadership. And again, why not you?
No, you couldn't have said it better. And that's the thing, too. I keep seeing a lot of response because I've been out pushing a lot of CEOs and business owners right now and entrepreneurs to take the lead, to be vocal, to be visible, to be seen in front of their customers, their employees, and their community. And it really gets to, it really gets down to the kind of the nuts and bolts of it. And if you're not presenting yourself out in front of your customers right now as, somebody that has some ideas, somebody that has some experience and resources, what's going to happen is people are going to forget about you because they're so, like right now, they're so focused on all the negative things that are going on. They are so focused on what is, how their lives are affected. They don't care about you. And really, why should they? But you signed up for this. When you became a business leader, you signed up for this. And it is critical that you understand where you come from. The single fact that you decided to start a business and the single fact that you sell a product or a service to a customer made you, this is it. This is the life that you chose to lead. And you have two choices. One, you can shrink back, not say anything, or two, come out, be visible, be in front of your audience, create some insights, create some resources for them that they can benefit from. So one of the things, though, the number one thing I see always with this is, well, you know what? I'm just shy. I don't want to be in front. I'm the private investor. I don't have any, I'm not the face of the company. Well, I have this word of advice for you. If you can be subpoenaed, you can be the face of your company. So if you have your name on those documents, on that business plan, on those loans, on that mortgage, on that loan, you guess what? You can be the face of your company. So no more excuses. So really talking about that, Greg, what do you see is the biggest thing when it comes to like overcoming your fear of being visible in front of your customers?
Yeah, so I talk about this thing called the ego equation, and it's usually ego that gets in the way and stops people from doing things. And it's because the ego equation is essentially you have your ego and you have your mission on different sides. And if your ego is stronger than your mission, you'll never do it. Because you're saying, I'm not a camera guy. I'm not good on camera. I need to lose weight. I need to, like, whatever that is. That's your ego being bigger than your mission. And if that is true, you will never get on camera. You'll never, record the video. You'll never do anything because your ego is greater. If your ego is equal to your mission, this is equally dangerous because this is where you just say nothing. You're just vanilla. You're doing it just because Scott and I said, hey, you should do video. And you get up on video and you're like, hey guys, this Corona thing it's serious. We should do something about it. Thanks for watching. Right. And like, you don't have any emotional attachment to it whatsoever. The magic comes when your mission is greater than your ego, because then it's all coming from your head and your heart. That's where we should be talking from. Right. So many people get caught up in like, I got to have the perfect script and the lighting's got to be perfect. And I got to look a certain, like, if your mission is important, none of that matters because it all comes through. And so think about the mission. If you're in healthcare, the mission is saving lives. It's getting people healthy. It's getting them through this. If you're a business coach like Scott and I, we help businesses. Like, my mission is to help you survive, not just survive this thing, but thrive. And like, my mission is so strong that I'll jump on camera 2:00 in the morning. Like, Scott called me up. I think it was like Saturday. I was out on the bike ride with the kids, but like, I believe in what he's doing so much. I was like, hey man, let's knock this out. Let's jump on. That was Saturday. We did this live on Monday. Mission is bigger than ego. And so I think for those of you who are saying like, I don't know if I should do it, you have to put the mission first. And when you do that, great things happen. When the ego comes first, you say, well, I wore a hat to the office today. I guess I'll go live tomorrow. The background doesn't look nice. I didn't have the right lights. I don't have the right camera. I don't like the way I look. I don't, someone might leave me a comment that's mean, right? That's all your ego. You have to put that in the rearview mirror and put your mission first. If you do that, I think that you'll be one step closer to putting out some meaningful content.
No, it's huge, Greg. And really, when we were putting this together, it was thinking about how can we best help the CEO, the business manager, the entrepreneur that is like struggling. They're struggling to make content. They're struggling to think that they have to have the greatest equipment, or they have to they've got to have a production team and a production assistant. They've got to have a director. They need teleprompters, all that stuff. And I've got a studio right now where I'm broadcasting from. And yeah, I have an investment in some equipment, but honestly, your MacBook comes with a camera. You have your iPhone. You've got, there's just so many cameras at your disposal anymore. I have a stack of old phones right now that literally I could set up and create a 360, a video virtual reality if I needed to. But it's not about the equipment, and also too, like you said, meaningful content, not just putting out something fluff or, ambiguous, or, copying what you think somebody else, is saying that you need to say. We're not here going to put the words in your mouth, but we're here to help you tactically and strategically think about what you need to be doing to communicate to your customers. And again, I'm going to go back to this. This is going to be the theme of this: over communicate. Right now, you need to be a communications company. I don't care what you serve or sell or provide. Maybe you're an attorney. Maybe you're a manufacturer. Maybe you are, you're in the restaurant business, which is obviously struggling right now. But tell your community, tell your customers what's going on in your world. And again, you have the things to use at your disposal. And we're going to talk tactics here. Greg's really, really good at that. And because this is his wheelhouse, this is what he does. So if you can, Greg, think of a few tactics right now that our listeners can start to employ to execute on this.
Yeah, so I think the biggest tactical step is to use a tool that you already have at your disposal. Don't wait for Amazon to bring you $1,000 in gear and lightings. Use the tool at your disposal and film something. Right. And this could be, Scott and I are both big believers in video. This could also be an audio message. This can also be a written message. And so the medium is just going to be whatever you're most confident in and where your strongest skill set comes from. Like if you are a prolific writer, you can write. And now's a time where people have a lot more free time. They can, read good stuff. If you love, being on a microphone like this, maybe it's a podcast or an audio medium or it's a video medium. But now is where the rubber meets the road, and you need to pick one medium that you are going to start sharing this message, right? And I think it starts with the first message that Scott shared, which is, what is that email and message that you can put out in front of your marketplace that gets in front of everyone, that is transparent with them? It says, here's what we got going on, here's what we're doing proactively, and here's how that impacts and affects you. Start there. And, if that's just, a State of the Union type, video to put out, if that's, an audio message where you're just getting hey guys, this is Greg from Ambitious.com. And I just wanted to share with you guys today exactly what's happening with our business, because so many clients and customers that we help around the world are being affected by. Just go into it. And, if that's written, then write a great piece, but start with that piece. Mm-hmm. Once you get that under your belt, this creates something incredible. It's called momentum, right? Because the first thing that you create creates momentum for you to create, guess what? The second piece and the third piece and the fourth piece, because the first piece is almost like triage, right? It's like, this is what we have to put out to, stop some of the bleeding, to tell people what's going on. But now you can start to establish that leadership that Scott and I are talking about. Because now in video 2 or audio 2 or in article 2, now you can start sharing, well, here's some positive things to do. Here's some action steps to take. Here's some insights that we have. And the thing here isn't to look, I know we've all been on social media, and all of our neighbors, friends, people that we knew back in high school are all of a sudden health experts, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that you should be a health expert, but how, like in my business, we do a lot of video marketing, video production. I'm talking about this in, taking a leadership approach, and how does this affect businesses from what I know. I am not saying anything at all about virus contraction and, fighting it, eating your nutrients. I'm saying, hey, if you're a business owner, here's what I do know you need to do. So take that leadership stance. And, we always say, in our teachings is, how can you commit to one piece of pillar content per week? I think you should be doing more. But huge. If you're going from 0 to 100, it becomes really difficult. If you've never created content before and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to go live 7 days a week. Well, after day 3, you give up, right? I know that, because that's how we are. So create this triage leadership piece that you're going to do based on exactly what Scott shared with you. And now switch immediately to one piece of thought leadership content every single week. If you can commit to more, great. But I would rather you do one thought leadership piece every week that you're going to film on video with your iPhone, with your webcam, if you have a fancy camera, great. But don't let technology get in the way. We're going to film this piece of content, and we're going to have that pillar piece of content. And then in my 5th tip, we're going to talk about distribution, because we got to get people to see it. But right now, it needs to be you talking from the head and the heart, putting your mission above your ego. One piece of thought leadership content every single week. And I'll let you kind of follow up with anything there that I might have missed or that we need to touch on.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it really tight. I mean, that is the directive here. Guys, you think about, I just want you to get this in your head. A lot of you think that you're trying to be the Kardashians right now when you're out doing this stuff, or you're trying to be narcissistic and or not trying to be, but you feel like it's leading to narcissism, and that is not the case at all. Leaders are in front, and it isn't about selfies and showing off that your business is thriving right now. It's not about trying to be an expert in something you're not. I mean, that is totally missing the point here. This is and the power of video is now you're visually in front of your people. They can see your emotions, they can see your body language, they can see the things that the emotion on your face. They are tuning in, they're leaning in because they're interested in what you have to say. Obviously, if you took the time to put together some video content for them, and you don't do that very often, as Greg talked about, this thing about momentum. If you're now doing it more, people will be like, wow, I don't see him on camera very much, or he doesn't do a lot of video. That is huge. People are going to recognize that you are trying, and that you are interested in them, because honestly, this goes back to what Greg said earlier. This is not about you. this isn't about you. This is about them. So you need to get it in your head. This is how you're serving your customer better, by being in front of them.
Yeah, actually, before I jump into that, there's the same person who said, I'm not going to do that, is also probably saying, well, what in the world do I say in the video? Right. So let me just give people a really quick framework. So you gave an amazing framework for that first piece, right? Getting out in front, talking about transparency, getting out ahead. It's not a coronavirus sale, talking about how you are, taking care of your customers, employees, things like that. That's piece one. But now when you're like, all right, now I have to be a thought leader. What the heck do I say in my videos or in my audios or in a post? And so this is a framework that we have. We have a video planner where I know, Scott, you've been an amazing person who's given this to a lot of your clients and stuff like that. It is really simple and it works for any piece of content. And it works simply like this. You come up with an idea. Any idea, a big idea. I think a big mistake when a new person tries to go live on Facebook, they just write their headline of their post is going live. Going live about what? What are you going to share? So your big idea is a big idea. That is what's in it for the person watching. What you want is the right person to watch your communication. Not everybody has to watch it. Not everybody has to like it. Who is your marketplace and what is in it for them? So your big idea is revolved all around them. So 3 ways you can use video to communicate your message. Well, if you're a business owner and you want to communicate your message, that is a benefit to you. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you just skip right over that. That's cool because stay-at-home mom's not going to buy my products in this instance. Right. So you have a big idea. Then I want you to think of an opening or a hook for your video. This is probably the part that might involve a little bit of research. Is there a stat? Is there a question? Is there a fact? Is there something that creates curiosity and intrigue? All you're trying to do there is suck them in, right? Because we have a very short attention span. And if you get their attention, they might stay to the next point. And then they might stay to the next point. So I like stats, like, did you know that 58% of freelancers right now are out of work, due to coronavirus? I made that stat up, but I'm sure it's actually probably higher than that. But, thinking of something in terms of that, it could be a question like, what are you doing to XYZ? So you have that. Then all you're going to do is 3 points. 3 points that back up your big idea. So if you're talking about, ways to lead in a hospitality industry, well, just come up with 1, 2, 3 ways to lead. If you're talking about, 3 different types of video content to create, well, type 1 is a live video. Type 2 is a Facebook Square video. Type 3 is a Zoom video, right? Just 3 points. That's going to give you enough to talk about. All of this stuff should be stuff that you guys talk about with your eyes closed every single day of the week. So we have our idea, our opening, 3 points, and then we have some type of a call to action. Now, this could be, if you know somebody else in your industry who needs to hear this, tag them below. Share this video with your community. Drop a comment with a question that you have so we can create another cool video like this. Or it can be, hey, if you like this, we're hosting a webinar. Go check out our webinar. Hey, if you like this, like in my case, I do send people to check out like my Ambitious Video Planner or something like that. So always have a call to action. It could be subtle. It could be like a social share, or you can move people into some type of action to where you can maybe help them. Maybe it's a free discovery call. Maybe it's, again, it's a value added way that you can continue to help people. So big idea, some type of opening, 3 bullet points, and then a call to action. Really simple. And you can use that if it's a podcast. Same formula. If you're going live on Facebook, same formula. If you're typing out an email, same formula. Keep it simple. And guess what? If you only have 2 points, just use 2 points. Right. If you got 5 points, great, but don't overcomplicate this. You are way smarter than you think you are. And you also know more than your marketplace does. Right? That's why you are the thought leader and the expert. And sometimes we just need to hear things over again. Like some of this Scott and I are saying today, we're not the first people to say it. And this probably isn't the first time you heard Scott or I say this stuff. But sometimes you need to continue to hear these things over and over again. So be that leader. And I think that's really going to help out. And again, a simple way for you to know exactly what to say when you go to create these communications.
No, that's huge. And one of the things I always impress upon my audience and customers and prospects is that it isn't about them. And so we talked about it earlier that creating opportunities now for yourself, through communication, right? So even if it's just listening, we talk about listening, a big part of our business too. So can you throw some questions out? Maybe you've gotten some emails, in from a few customers, but if 3 people have asked the same question, I bet you 10 people are asking the same question. I bet you 100 people are asking the same question. So even getting an opportunity now to listen using this communication tool, or these communication tools now, to become a better listener, means that if I pose a question to my audience or my prospects or my community or my customers, and I get that feedback, how much better off am I? I've moved the ball forward as far as understanding, where they're at and understanding the challenges that they're facing right now. So it is critical that you think like a communications company. Make it both ways. Mm-hmm. Show your email at the bottom of the screen, or tell people, hey, if you've got questions, my email is, and I'll throw this out there. If you got questions for Greg, it's greg@ambitious.com. You got questions for me, it's scott@kitchentraffic.com. So we want to make sure that we're thinking like a communications company, that we are putting out the effort, and as you talked about earlier, the momentum, right? This momentum that we're building on being in front of our customers, being visible, and being able to, provide a service beyond what our products and services actually represent. And right now, I want to just say this. It's we've been getting a lot of articles too. If you need to know how to be a better leader, Google it. How do I become a better leader in a crisis? There are hundreds of articles. There's some stuff by Tim Denning, who's a guy I follow on LinkedIn. This is where building a community now of CEOs and experts in your space and in your industry. We have a group called the Entrepreneurs Table, which is a bunch of different people, from entrepreneurs to CEOs to freelancers to managers. And so having that community is critical. So make sure that you're looking for opportunities to become a great communicator, and then rely on others to help you. And again, there's so many resources, not just Scott and Greg, but go out and find those resources to become a great communications company.
Yeah, and as a communications company, it has never been easier and more affordable for you to distribute your communications. You don't have to buy airtime. You don't have to buy radio commercials. You don't have to buy a full-page ad in your newspaper to talk to people in your community. I know that you all know this, but I have to make it clear that you can literally just open your phone, hit Facebook, go live, and you're talking to all of your friends, right? Instantly. And so, really simple things to think about when you think about distribution is, how can you communicate with the people that you already have in your world? And so one of the first places, and if I were to, we pay a lot of attention to media companies, the way media is going. Video on YouTube is, for me, number one platform. Get the video on YouTube. Yep. It's owned by Google. So, for search engines, people, typing in things into the Google, what are local, hospitality companies in Orlando doing about coronavirus? Well, if you put out a piece of thought leadership on that, your YouTube videos will show up. So from just a search perspective, YouTube also gives you some code, not to get too technical, but some embed code that you then can put on your website. And now if you have a blog or a media section or news or updates on your site, take that code from YouTube, put it on your site. And now you're putting new pages on your website all the time. Also good for Google. But now what you can do is now you can go to your email list, all your customers, all of your prospects, everyone in your database, and send them an email, sending them to the page on your website. Because, a lot of people just make the mistake, and I'm guilty of this when I'm lazy, is I send people over to YouTube or I send people over to Facebook. And as soon as they get to Facebook, guess what? Well, now they see, Scott's vacation photos, and now they're not watching my video about, my tips. Or they go to YouTube, and guess what? YouTube puts all around your video. Competitors' videos and ads and, shiny objects. So if you can control that vacuum, and now you're sending people to a page on your website, now if they get distracted, they're distracted with your own content, with your other posts. So YouTube, really, really valuable for so many leaders today to use that as a communication platform. Then I go over to, if you're in the B2B space, LinkedIn is huge right now for video. So I would be posting my videos on LinkedIn. I would be going into groups on LinkedIn and sharing my videos there as well. And then the other platform for most people around the world right now is going to be Facebook. And Facebook, my tip for you there is you want to put it onto your business page and then share it to your personal page. Right. Reason being is really twofold. A, you get stats and analytics and all of that. on the business side, and B, you can run advertising to it. Right now, even just in the last week, if you were talking to me a month ago, there was so much demand for Facebook ads that it drove the price sky high through the roof. Well, just in the last 14 days, advertisers are dropping off Facebook at a record pace because guess what? Cash flow's tight. They're uncertain of what to do. They're scared to run ads. Well, as demand drops, supply rises and the price is dropping as well. So you can put a video up. If you're a local company, and I'm in Orlando, so I use those references, but a local business in Orlando, a restaurant, can film a video and say, all right, everyone that's 25 to 35 that lives within 5 miles of my restaurant, I want to share my video to them. It's an engagement ad that we would run, and you can get that video seen for a penny or less than a penny per view. So I don't know any commercials you can buy for that or TV time that you can buy for that. That's also that targeted to where you only pay the Facebooks when your target market watches it. So that is distribution. So if bare bones distribution plan without, rocket science and hiring the 16-year-old kid down the street, YouTube, take that YouTube and put it onto your website, LinkedIn, Facebook, and if you want to get fancy, some Facebook ads to people in your community. If you do that, you will blanket the people in your marketplace, and you'll be what I like to call omnipresent. They turn around, boom, they're getting an email from you. Boom, they're seeing you on Facebook. Boom, they're seeing you on YouTube. Now an ad's popping up. Now you become omnipresent to them. And it just looks like, hey, Jim's got it going on. Scott's got it going on. They're ahead of this thing. And that's what we want in this situation.
No, that's huge. And awesome tactics, by the way. Just listed those, and we're going to give you guys in this worksheet that we have created 5 ways leaders take the lead. It's a PDF. It's about 6 pages, and it breaks down the framework that Greg and I have been going over today, and it just lists out everything that we've talked about, the things that you need to be checking the boxes on. And you mentioned something a minute ago that was huge, and that was a formula. So there's a formula that you need to follow, and I use the word recipe in my world. And so we teach our clients the recipe that it takes to go out and retain clients and create great customer experience. Retention's huge, and this is a retention tool. What you're talking about too, Greg, is top of mind. And some people are like, oh, omnipresence. Well, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be in front of people's feeds all the time and, annoying them, because I get annoyed when I see the same guy over and over again. I don't care if you get annoyed. Do you want to be in front of your customers or not? Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody's retracting. The guys and the companies and the businesses that are serious about maintaining relevance and visibility in front of their audience are going to win. And as this thing ramps back up, remember this, you do not want to be starting from scratch. It's like starting a brand new business. It's like being a startup all over again. Nobody wants to be a startup when this thing ramps back up. So it is imperative, right? It is imperative that instead of being a startup in 12 months, 18 months, you become, you just keep it going. And the way to do that is to be in front of your customers continually. I know it sounds like, it's just advertising and it's, marketing and it's, being annoying. I'm going to tell you this, most people don't care. They either like it or they delete it and they move on. And you know what? The 7 impressions is something we teach all the time. Used to take 7 impressions for somebody to remember you. Now it's 33. So anyhow, Greg, we're going to wrap this thing up. It's been awesome having you on. I appreciate you bringing out your intelligence and your expertise, and look forward to helping some CEOs and leaders out there become leaders right now.
No, thanks for the invite. And don't just use these, however long we've been here, 30 minutes or so, as just entertainment. I know Scott and I are super entertaining, for whenever you're watching this, but, do something with it and ask questions. Reach out to Scott. He's shared his email. I've shared mine. Like, hey, Greg, I tried to film this video. How could I improve it? Or I put this out. How do I gain? Now is the time to take action, to test things, and to level up your skills. And communication is really, really, really high on the list, or it should be really high on the list. So, Scott, thanks for putting this together, and hopefully we help a lot of people.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. But guys, again, remember, just ask Greg. Greg at ambitious.com or Scott at kitchentraffic.com. We have a really nice PDF we put together for you guys. But until we do this again, Greg, thank you so much for your time. And,
you too, man. Thank you so much.
We will put something together for you guys in the future too. But go out there and make sure that you are taking the lead right now and being the leader that you can be.